Look, if you've ever tried to build an AI app, you know what a headache it can be. But what if there was a tool that could get rid of all that pain, letting you build powerful AI without the drama? Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly that. Let's get to it. Okay, so picture this. You've got this brilliant idea for an AI app. Maybe it's a super smart chatbot for your website, or a tool that generates incredible art with just a few words. You can just see it, right? It's crystal clear in your head. This amazing app powered by the latest and greatest AI. But then, you actually try to build it, and bam, reality hits. Hard. That straight line you imagined from your idea to a finished product, yeah, it's more like a tangled, frustrating web of code, weird configurations, and errors that make no sense. What was supposed to be fun turns into a total nightmare. So, let's get into it. What exactly makes building these things so ridiculously hard? Well, it really boils down to four, let's call them big headaches, that developers are wrestling with every single day.
First up is what I like to call prompt hell. Oh man, this is where you spend hours, maybe even days, just trying to wrestle the language model into giving you what you want. You just want a simple, structured piece of data, like some clean JSON. But the thing is, these models can be so flaky. A user types something slightly different, and poof, the output format breaks, and your whole app might crash. It's this constant, exhausting battle.
All right, headache number 2, the context maze. You know how AI models seem to have the memory of a goldfish sometimes? That's because they have a token limit, which is just a fancy way of saying they can only remember so much at once. So after a few messages back and forth, your chatbot starts forgetting the beginning of the conversation. If you want it to remember, you have to build all this complex memory management stuff from scratch.
And then, oh boy, there's the backend overhead. Suddenly, your cool AI idea is just buried. It's buried under this mountain of other stuff you have to deal with. We're talking vector databases, user accounts, connecting to other APIs, caching, and all of it is held together with miles of messy glue code. Your actual brilliant idea ends up being like 5% of the total code.
And just when you think you've survived all that, you hit the ops nightmare. This is the real-world stuff. Like, how do you stop some random user from spamming your API and waking you up to a $10,000 bill? Seriously, it happens. How do you handle security and logging and making sure the whole thing doesn't fall over when more than 2 people use it? These problems can absolutely sink a project.
So you add it all up, the prompt hell, the context maze, the backend mess, the ops nightmare, and what do you get? Building AI becomes slow, it gets expensive, and honestly, it's just incredibly frustrating. It sucks the fun right out of creating something cool.
But what if you could just skip all of that? What if there was a better way? Well, that's where a platform called Dify comes in. This is where we shift from talking about the problem to talking about a really interesting solution.
And yes, Dify literally stands for Do It For You, which is a pretty bold claim, right? It's an open source platform that's built to take care of all those nasty backend and operational headaches we just covered. It's kind of like a ready-made backend for your app, combined with all the tools you need to manage your AI models. The whole point is to let you focus on your actual idea, not on all the plumbing.
Now, to really get what Dify is all about, you gotta understand where it fits in. Most of the tools out there, like LangChain for example, are code first. They give you a box of powerful tools, an SDK, but you're still the one who has to write all the code to put it together. Dify takes a platform-first approach. It gives you a visual, low-code playground to build your app. Okay, this next analogy is perfect. Think about building a car. LangChain and tools like it, they give you this incredible high-performance engine and a pile of top-tier parts. Amazing, right? But you have to be the master mechanic who assembles the whole car from scratch. Dify, on the other hand, gives you the entire automated production line. You just drag and drop the chassis, the engine, the wheels into place, and a finished car rolls off the other end. It's all about speed and simplicity.
All right, so talk is cheap, right? Let's see how this thing actually works. We're going to walk through building 2 different AI apps right here, starting with something simple and then moving to something a bit more complex.
Okay, example 1, an AI image generator. With Dify, this is almost ridiculously easy. It's just 3 steps. First, you connect it to a tool like Stability AI, basically just by pasting in an API key. Second, you make a new agent app and write a quick prompt telling it what to do. And third, you test it right there and hit publish. And you're done. Seriously, from just an idea to a working app you can share in minutes. It's that fast. Okay, that was a pretty simple one. But what about something smarter? Something with more moving parts, like a customer service bot that actually knows your company's products? This is where Dify's visual workflow builder, which they call Chatflow, is just awesome.
So, a customer asks the question. The very first thing our workflow in Dify does is classify that question. It's like a bouncer at a club. It asks, hey, is this question actually about our product, or is it just random chatter? This first step is great because it filters out all the noise and saves you API costs.
Now, if the question gets past the bouncer, the workflow moves on. The next step is retrieval. Dify goes and searches a knowledge base that you gave it. Maybe you just uploaded some product manuals or FAQs. It finds the most relevant little pieces of text to answer that specific question. This whole process is a super powerful technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. You'll hear that a lot. And inside Dify, it's literally just one block that you drag onto the screen.
And for the grand finale, everything gets passed to the large language model, the user's original question, plus the super relevant snippets it just found in your documents. The model then uses all that context to put together a really smart, accurate, and helpful reply. And you've designed this entire complex flow without writing a single line of custom code. So this is obviously pretty powerful stuff, which brings up the big question. Who is this actually for? Do you need to be some kind of genius developer to use it? And the answer, which is pretty cool, is that it's for a whole range of people. For your tech team, it gets rid of all that boring, repetitive code. For your non-technical folks, think product managers, marketers, they can actually jump in and build AI prototypes themselves, no coding required. For startups, it's probably the fastest way to get an MVP out the door. And for anyone just trying to learn this stuff, it's a visual, hands-on way to understand how it all works. So let's just boil it down. Why would you use something like Dify? 1, it lets your engineers focus on what actually matters, your unique business logic. 2, it brings your whole team into the creative process, not just the coders. 3, it lets you test ideas at lightning speed. And 4, it's just a fantastic way to learn about the building blocks of modern AI, like RAG and agents, without getting totally overwhelmed. Look, the days when you needed a PhD in machine learning just to build a simple AI app, those days are over. They're ending fast. Platforms like Dify are tearing down the barriers between a great idea and a real working product. The tools are getting so much simpler, which means the power to create is literally in your hands. So the real question isn't, can you build it anymore? The question is, what will you build?